going on, guys? This is Wade with Trade ATS. I want to welcome you to this week's Forex analysis video. This is where we try to find which FX pairs are going to be the best to trade for this next following week. It is Sunday the 10th, February 10th, and I scanned a bunch of pairs. Again, this week I'm not finding anything that has a whole lot of great setups, but I did find a few things I want to talk to you about on dollar CAD. Dollar CAD has actually been swinging pretty nicely, believe it or not. And I want to talk about what happened kind of last week. Last week we had this monster run up. This is a 4-hour chart right here. You can see we had an expansion box right here. We came out of that box. We came down. We held expansion. You can see there, and then we just went into this monster run to the long side. You can see right here it really took steam right here when we popped through this liquidity. And you can see that we didn't immediately get rejected down and fall back into trend. That was a sign it was going to continue up. So we gapped from this liquidity line to the next one, which was a 124 pip gap just between liquidity lines. That was there was some good trading there. This right here, there was a ton of awesome trades going up this run here. To be able to catch a run like this, you're going to have to be a little bit more advanced. Because the only way you would have got into this with a multiple time frame setup would have been if you were using the daily to back up basically your basis for making that decision. Because the daily, we caught it right here at the turn, the daily turned green, and then we basically ranged back up to go back to the expansion, the last expansion on the daily. So that's what happened. This is more of an advanced maneuver. The methodologies that we're going to teach you to get started are always going to be to trade in trend. And try to space out your time frame so that you're really just catching the easiest momentum there is to catch. But there is a ton of different opportunities and things that you can use this software for. What you're looking at, this is supposed to be a map. It's what it is. It's a map of what price is likely to do, and you can look at these levels because they're so accurate, and you can plan all kinds of different trades based on that. But when you guys are first getting started, I'm always going to point you towards a very simple basic methodology, and catching this out of the turn on the daily was not the easiest for a beginner. If you've been on the platform for years and years, I know I got guys that have been with me 5-6 years. We've been trading together, and I know that they would have saw this and they would have been perfectly comfortable trading that. But something I'm always going to push you to a conservative methodology. So there was great trades in there, but what we're setting up for right now, and I actually on my particular platform, I have not sprouted a new weekly candle yet here, but I got a weekly chart here. There is still a possibility that we can range back down and test this expansion on the weekly. This could be nothing more than a correction. I'm not sure yet, but here's the thing. If this thing starts to unfold to the downside again, we're going to get a pretty significant range down. Right now on the daily, we are just to expansion. We got roughly 97 pips or so, 98 pips, just down to expansion, right from where we are right now. And with price, so expansion is like it is the true center of gravity of market. If you've ever done like mean reversion strategies and things like that, people talk about center of gravity, like it's because price is always gravitating towards these points. I'm going to tell you right now, there is no center of gravity out there that's more accurate or more gravitational than these expansion lines. So even if the market does continue going up, there's a good chance that we're going to come back and at least test that expansion line. It doesn't have to happen. Nothing's guaranteed, but that's, if you are trading short, that is your first kind of price target you can look for, that we would come back down there and we would still hold that direction of the weekly. Now, if we get through that expansion, what do we have from there? We got another 110, 115 pips down to the next liquidity. Okay, so you can see there's two possible gaps in there that you can trade over the next week. I don't know how quickly they're going to pan out if they do, but that's going to be some good days in there. So that's something I would definitely look at. And if you look at the weekly, even if the weekly does sprout green when the candle pops up, it has to close that way for you to really take it fully seriously. These candles do change colors, but they don't confirm that way. They only confirm when they close. So if the weekly holds short, I mean, look at this. We had how many weeks in a row green? I mean, that's kind of the, you know, the great thing about HA type candles is that they really simplify momentum. And when you combine that with the lines we use on ATS, I mean, it's a killer combination. So if that weekly holds short and we do whip down there, you know, that's 260 pip target. So let's find a liquidity line from where we're at right now. Okay. So 260 is basically when we break through. There's not a liquidity line representing that exact price level at the moment. But you know, it would whip down, it would break through this liquidity line here and get down there pretty significant in between these two. So that's what it would end up looking like if that weekly holds. And if it does hold red, I could tell you it's almost a guaranteed certainty we're at least going to test the active low, which is on this candle, which is on the daily right here. So what is that? That's almost a 200 pip price projection. So you know, what we're trying to do is we're looking at these lines, we're looking at the start of the week, we're thinking what could possibly happen. I'm just coming up with scenarios. Like I said, nothing's guaranteed, but when you look at the lower time frames, I got the 4 hour here, we'll talk about that in a minute, but you look at the time frames, you start coming up with ideas. These are just ideas. We're going to see what actually unfolds, you know, throughout the week, and then we're going to react accordingly to what actually transpires. But it just gives you, you know, when you get into different runs and different trades throughout the week, and all of a sudden you hit a trade where it just takes off, then you're going to have those ideas that you thought about in your head of where the week could ultimately end up price-wise, and you'll be able to stay in those trades a little bit longer because you have a really accurate price prediction for that particular direction, whether it be long or short. One thing I want to talk about real quick too is that we're holding this expansion on the daily as well. So what happened last time, look at, here was a setup on the daily, and this is kind of our basic setup that we talk about in the course, and kind of there's our first weekly candle. We just hit it. It just started. So here is our basic setup right here. We got the weekly. Obviously it's pulling short. It does not take a genius to see that. We're retracing back towards expansion. And we get a box on the daily, right? So daily pulls long out of the box. Guess what? If that week doesn't rotate and confirm long, this is pretty much a guarantee that you're coming back to expansion, which it did. Came under expansion. We got a new expansion line to reference. It came back. It held under that expansion. And then this was nothing but a handout of a payday right here. But, you know, the facts is that as long as you're the larger time frame you're using for that directional bias does not rotate and confirm a different color opposite to what your directional bias is, then you're going to get paid on every single situation like this. And this one paid nicely. Just that initial pop was 100 pips, over 100 pips. Then if you got in here where we rotated, coming down through here, just to the liquidity line here was another 87. And then anything after that, you know, you're down through here in this area, and you know those would be probably shorter term momentum trades, because eventually all moves got to turn at some point, which it did. So anyway, I'm rambling on a little bit here, but you can see what I want you to look at right now, where we're at right here on the daily. We're holding under that expansion line. You know, remember, price hates expansion. It does not want to be here. It wants to get away from this price level. So if it holds under that and it goes to the downside, we are going back to this expansion. If we get to this expansion and it pushes through, we are very most likely going to this liquidity line. So these are your price gap predictions that you can base those trades on, but let the market play out. Let the market give you, as you wait, you'll get a sense of knowing, understanding like, okay, this idea I had or that I thought may be a possibility is actually playing out, it looks like, and then you can react accordingly to that. So right here on the 4 hour, one thing I want to show you, this is that run we had up. Like I said, a lot of good opportunity in there, but for more advanced traders, I'm not going to push you guys if you're new. I'm not going to push you into trading this because it was against your weekly trend on that. If you're using the weekly, I know a lot of guys do. But let me turn this 4 hour into a 15-minute here real quick. I want to show you all the liquidity that was left behind on this thing. Okay, so here's our 15-minute chart, and here's where we set right now. Okay, so if you look at this run, all these people, it's left liquidity up this entire run. We just had days last week where it was just you had to go long and you would have made money. But it was very easy to get in. But sometimes that signals the fact that it is so easy to enter a trend. That means that when this finally turns, it's going to be very easy for that trend to do basically a 100% retracement. So if it does, if we 100% retrace this trend from last week, then you're going to get gaps because it's going to go all the way down to where it started. It'll take out the entire thing most likely if we hold that weekly down direction. Those are going to be your price gaps right here on the 15. If you are trading, in the morning and you're looking for those short-term momentum trades, well, here they are. You have a gap, 30 pips there. You have a gap, 30 pips there. You got a gap, 25 pips there. You got a gap, 47, 48 pips there. So, you're going to fill each one of these gaps. And if you are trading, looking for those momentum turns, and obviously the daily will probably rotate by that point, then you can use those liquidity lines to project those profits. And then when you get in there and you secure a 30, 40, 50 pip trade, whatever it ends up being from your entry, the way it works out, you can close your trades and you can book those profits based on that liquidity that was left over from last week's run. So there it is. It's all mapped out for you. You just have to react. We're not trying to predict. We're not trying to guess. We're trying to find momentum. We're trying to come up with possibilities of what can happen. We have very accurate price projections for different scenarios, and we're just going to react accordingly to those. So anyway, I definitely look at dollar CAD. I think dollar CAD is going to be one that's dollar CAD's always a great pair to trade. If you're new and you're just trying to find a good pair to trade, dollar CAD is one that's you can literally just stay on this pair. And it moves smoothly a lot of the time. You don't get a whole heck of a lot of sideways chop, and it just has some really good trend to it, and doesn't have too many dramatic whips or a lot of like unforeseen just crazy movements. So dollar CAD's a great pair just to kind of get your feet on the ground with. So anyway, I would look at this one, and that's it. So I would look at if we hold under that expansion, if we get above this expansion. I'll mention this. This is important. I'm glad I remembered to tell you this. If price, it sets right here. If we do aggressively push up through this expansion and break the highs of the daily, chances are there's a good chance that this weekly candle will end up closing green. Okay. Right now, the weekly candle, it can push up, but if it can range back short. But if we hold above that expansion, there's only 7 days in a week, and not all of them are trading days, obviously. But if we do hold that, that's a good indication that weekly does want to rotate. If that weekly does rotate, then we're going to probably end up trending back up to the active high of here on the dollar CAD on the weekly, and then we'll have some good uptrending weeks. But either way, whatever happens, we have our range that we're working with, and I'm guarantee we'll be able to find some solid trades. So that's my prediction for this week as far as what you need to be looking for. If you guys have any questions or you want us to review your trades or anything, always feel free to email us at support if you're a subscriber, and we're more than happy to help you that way too. So anyways, everybody have a great trading week, and we'll catch up with you soon.